Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a story of what if Naruto and Sasuke was like Hashirama and Madara. Naruto and Sasuke will be strong. Naruto will have a wood release and he is a Senju. Sasuke will, as you all know, an Uchiha. Now let's start the story. Chapter 2. I hope you all enjoy, and remember to leave a review on your way out. Today is graduation day, followed by a Genin test. Today's the day. HN. Naruto and Sasuke were heading for the Ninja Academy. 4.5 years had passed since that day when they discovered Naruto's heritage, and everything had been proceeding according to plan. Naruto and Sasuke spent every day studying or training, or both. However, because of how the teams were sorted, Naruto had stuck with the plan and pretended to be a nobody in class, getting barely passing grades. It had been difficult, though, to get worse grades than Shikamaru. That boy was a genius, but too lazy to lift a pen. Therefore, his grades should have been the poorest, but since they were the same as Naruto's, the blonde had to take drastic measures by adding poor attendance to the list. This had earned him the position of dead last. The two were dressed sharply enough, Naruto wearing a pair of black sandals, black ninja pants with a shuriken holster and a kunai holster strapped to his right leg, and a loose, long-sleeved, black ninja shirt that had been rolled up to just below his elbows, revealing the sleeves of the mesh shirt he wore underneath. Under the shirt, which had a fur collar much like that of the venerable Nadaime Hokage, over the mesh, Naruto wore plate armor. He also had 2 kunai pouches behind his back, and a black, 3-inch wide bracelet on each wrist. Sasuke wore black sandals, black ninja pants with 2 shuriken holsters on his right leg, a black muscle shirt over a mesh shirt, under plate armor, which was hidden by a black, long-sleeved shirt complete with the trademark high collar of the Uchiha, and the Uchiha clan crest on the back. He had only one kunai pouch, which was on the left side of his back, as a black chakudo was tucked into his red obi behind his back on his right side. He had identical bracelets on his own wrists. My awesome score in the upcoming exam won't change my overall grade, will it? Naruto asked curiously, and Sasuke shook his head. No, the exam is just to show that you can do what they want you to do, the Uchiha said. His voice was warmer than it had once been, but it was only like that when he was talking to Naruto, or whoever else he felt had earned his respect, such as the Sandaime Hokage, and Naruto's teacher, who went by the codename Yamato. Hey, then it'll be good to show these punks how good I really am. Naruto said, punching his fist into his open palm. Of course, most of the academy already knew how strong he really was. After all, Sasuke's fangirls had spied on a lot of their lighter training sessions, and even then it was intense, and since Naruto could easily keep up with Sasuke, they had figured out that he was just acting in class, and had naturally spread the word. Sasuke blinked once and looked at Naruto. Who is it this time? I'm not molding chakra right now, Naruto said, crossing his arms. So I haven't the slightest. Then mold some. Naruto's left eyebrow slowly rose, and he turned his head to look at Sasuke, who sighed. Please mold some. Naruto nodded and closed his eyes, activating his keen chakra sensing abilities. He located all 5 people who were following them, and identified their chakra signatures. The usual fangirls on hour 6, and on the rooftop at 4 o'clock is Hinata. Hinata. Haven't had her following us around for about a week, Sasuke commented. It was widely known that Hinata was probably the only girl in the academy who wasn't a fangirl. Instead, she was an admirer. She didn't admire Sasuke, however, but instead it was Naruto who she focused her attention on. She had told Kiba, who had told Shikamaru, who had told Ino, who had told Sasuke that she admired Naruto for his determination and will to never give up, even when looked down upon by the general populace of the village. She greatly admired his character, but was too shy to talk to him. Still suck at the bunshin, though. Naruto muttered, bringing the topic back to the exam. Dunno how I'm gonna pull that one off. Way ahead of you, Sasuke said confidently. Don't worry, you'll pass with flying colors. The Hokage said that the bunshin is the most basic of clones, and that's the minimum requirement for graduating. Sasuke didn't need to say anything else, as Naruto made the realization right away. Ah, so any clone will do. I'll avoid the Moku Bunshin, wood clone, and just go with the Kage Bunshin, shadow clone. Don't want to reveal my special skills too quickly. And so, there they stood, in the Ninja Academy. Or rather, they were outside. Currently, they were doing the physical portion of the exam. Needless to say, Naruto shocked the hell out of Iruka when he aced the kunai and shuriken throwing, beat everyone in the stamina portion, and fought Sasuke to a standstill in a spar. Naruto even did well in genjutsu, even though it wasn't his area of expertise. Despite his terrible skill with them, compared to his nin and taijutsu, he could still cast genjutsu that were above average in power, not something just anyone could do, and he could identify and cancel them no problem. Next came the ninjutsu portion. Naruto was almost disappointed with the fact that only a henge, bunshin, and a kawarimi needed to be performed to pass. Alright, Naruto, just create 2 fully functional bunshin, and you'll pass, Iruka said, looking very pleasantly surprised at Naruto's performance. Naruto nodded and put his hands in a cross seal. Without speaking the words, he created 2 kage bunshin, which made the Chunin teacher's eyes widen in surprise. These are kage bunshin. The Jiji says that my chakra stores are too big for me to create a normal bunshin, Naruto said with a shrug. Well, you pass, Naruto. Congratulations. Iruka said, picking up one of the hitai-8 on the table in front of him and handing it to Naruto, who shook his head. It's cool, I've got my own, he said and reached into his kunai pouch, taking out a scroll and opening it. He placed his hand on a seal in the scroll, and in a poof of smoke, a gray hapuri with the Konoha symbol engraved on the forehead appeared, landing in Naruto's hand. It was old and scratched here and there, and Iruka's eyes widened. Naruto, is that the Nadime's hapuri? Naruto said with a nod as he put the scroll in his kunai pouch again, before putting on the hapuri. Yeah, the Jiji gave it to me. Well, later, sensei. With that, Naruto left the classroom, finding Sasuke waiting for him outside, already wearing his hitai-8. They didn't need to speak. Instead, Naruto just grinned and pointed with his thumb up at his hapuri. Big surprise there, Sasuke said, looking bored. So, do we eat and then train, or do we train and then eat? Let's go eat first, yeah. Celebrate our graduation, Naruto said, still grinning as he and Sasuke walked off. Starting today, all of you are real shinobi. Iruka said happily to the gathered graduates the next day, smiling proudly. But you are still genin. The hard journey that lies ahead has just started. Now you will soon get missions to help the village. So today, we will create the 3-man teams, and each of you will have a Junin sensei. You will follow your sensei's instructions in order to successfully complete your missions. Now, we tried to balance each team's strength, the Chunin said as he looked down at the clipboard in his hand. Alright, Team 1. Naruto, who was sitting next to Sasuke, nudged his best friend with his elbow. Hey, did you find out which girl got the highest score? I think Hinata and Sakura were at the top, Sasuke said quietly, staring out the window. I couldn't find out which one, though. I hope it's Hinata. It'd be nice to have the girl of the team fawning over someone other than me. If it is Hinata, we're going to have to do something about her shyness. Agreed. Okay, next is Team 7. Hyuga Hinata, Uzumaki Naruto, and Uchiha Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke both got identical smirks on their faces and gave each other a high five. Out of the corner of his eye, Naruto saw that Hinata had gone beet red in her seat, her eyes white as saucers. Hey, Iruka-sensei, Shikamaru spoke up, sounding bored as usual. Aren't the teams supposed to be balanced? Why are you placing the 3 strongest on the same team? Because, Shikamaru, though it's widely known that Naruto is as strong as Sasuke, we selected the teams based on grades, and Naruto came in dead last. I believe the 2 knew about how the teams would be decided, after all. The smirks on Naruto and Sasuke's faces said it all. Alright, next is Team 8, which will consist of Haruno Sakura, Inuzuka Kiba, and Aburame Shino, Iruka said, continuing to read from his clipboard. Team 9 is still in rotation from last year, and Team 10 will be Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, and Akamichi Choji. He cleared his throat, then smiled. Okay, this afternoon we'll introduce your Junin sensei. Until then, take a break. Hinata. Naruto called as everyone rose from their seats. The Hyuga heiress jumped at being addressed by her crush and spun to face him, completely red-faced still. Sasuke and I are gonna grab some lunch, you wanna come? Aye. Hinata started poking her fingers together, ducking her head down, which made Naruto and Sasuke share a look with each other, eyebrows raised. Sure, Naruto-kun. Dango today, then. Naruto asked Sasuke, who nodded as they walked up to Hinata. Dango alright with you, Hinata? It's fine. Hinata muttered, still keeping her head down. Naruto looked to Sasuke, who shrugged. The newly made Team 7 headed to a nearby Dango shop, where Naruto and Sasuke each ordered 10 sticks, and Hinata ordered 5. You didn't pack lunch? Naruto asked Hinata as they waited for their food. Come to think of it, I've never seen you bring lunch. No, I go back home to eat lunch. Hinata said quietly. What about you two? Sasuke prefers dango, but he can't make it, and me, well, the last time I tried cooking, Sasuke and I had to battle the ensuing creation to the death. Hinata giggled at that, especially at the look on Sasuke's face when he thought back to the monster stew. A stew shouldn't have been able to grow tentacles, damn it. So, Hinata, Naruto said as their order arrived, watching as Hinata jumped at being addressed. Why don't you give us a rundown of your abilities, eh? Sasuke and I know each other's skills well enough, but we have no idea about you. Oh, I'm kind of weak. Hinata mumbled shyly, ducking her head. Yeah, we don't buy that, Sasuke said simply. If you were weak, you wouldn't have scored top of the class. How about we go first? Give small introductions, he said, looking to Naruto for confirmation and getting a nod. Alright, I'm Uchiha Sasuke. I specialize in ninjutsu and genjutsu. My chakra control is excellent, and my strength is above average. I don't have the best stamina, but it's not lousy, either. My preferred jutsu or kaiden jutsu. Uzumaki Naruto, Naruto said, raising his hand unnecessarily in greeting. I specialize in ninjutsu and taijutsu. I'm also a very accomplished sensor. My chakra control is good, but could be better, and my strength is amazing. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I get by, my stamina is monstrous, and my preferred jutsu or doden in Suiden jutsu, and the secret type. Secret type? Hinata asked, blinking at the grin on Naruto's face. To be revealed at a later date, Naruto said, nodding. Now I'm Hyuga Hinata. I guess I specialize in taijutsu. My Byakugan makes me a good sensor, I suppose. My chakra control is excellent, like Sasuke-kun's, but I'm kind of weak physically. My stamina is also not that great. My preferred jutsu or my clan jutsu. So, only one of us has any focus on genjutsu, Sasuke said, crossing his arms and closing his eyes in thought. I know you have a pretty low opinion of yourself, Hinata, but I need you to think carefully about your skills. Do you have anything else that could contribute? Well, I do make my own medicine. Alright, that's great. Naruto said with a bright grin. So you'll act as our support, and can also patch up Sasuke and me when we rush into battle headfirst, yeah. Sasuke corrected, which got him a glare from Naruto. Shut up, you know it all. Hinata giggled softly at their antics, and even more so during their meal, when Naruto demonstrated his 4-in-1 technique, where he tilted his head back and put an entire dango stick down his throat like a sword swallower, chomped his teeth down on it, and pulled it out, clean, and swallowing the dumplings whole. Naruto muttered afterward, clutching his stomach. Those always feel too big going down. It's like they swell to twice their size as soon as I swallow them. Sasuke chuckled softly, while Hinata giggled. When the food had been devoured, the trio got up and headed back to the academy, where they waited. And waited. And waited. Naruto. Sasuke said after 2 hours of waiting. The blonde was sitting at his desk, his eyes closed. Someone's finally approaching, Naruto said grumpily. Damn bastard, making us wait. Way to make a first impression. The door opened, revealing a man wearing the traditional Junin uniform, along with a mask that covered the lower half of his face, and a headband that was pulled down to cover his left eye. His hair, gray, looked as though it was defying gravity. He raised a gloved hand in greeting. Yo, boys and girl. I'll be your Junin sensei, he spoke lazily, then looked around and thought. This place is a bit stuffy. Let's go up to the roof, yeah. With that, he left the classroom, and Naruto, Sasuke and Hinata, looking at each other strangely, shrugged and followed him up to the roof, where they sat down in front of the man, who was leaning back against the railing. Well, Let's begin with introducing ourselves, the man said, his arms crossed. What do you want to know, sensei? Hinata asked softly. How about your likes, dislikes, your dreams for the future, and things like that, the Junin said with a shrug. How about you go first? Sasuke asked. Yeah, you look very suspicious. Naruto muttered, narrowing his eyes. Oh, me. Well, my name is Hitaki Kakashi. I have no desire to tell you my likes and dislikes. Dreams for the future, and I have lots of hobbies. All three members of Team 7 sweet-dropped at the lame introduction. Kakashi was unperturbed, however, and just smiled and pointed at Naruto. Alright, now it's your turn. Start from the right. Uzumaki Naruto, as everyone knows, Naruto said, saluting Kakashi. I like training, the few friends I have, nature, and meditating. I don't like idiots or warmongers. As for my hobbies, well, my only hobby is training, I guess. And my dream is to become Hokage, and surpass all my predecessors. Good. Next. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I like training, swords, and meditating. My dislikes mostly consist of idiots and a certain man. My hobby is training, and my dream. I don't really have dreams, but rather goals. The resurrection of the Uchiha clan, to kill that certain man, and to become Hokage. Though that last one is gonna have to remain a dream, Naruto supplied with a grin, while Sasuke gave a scoff of amusement. Kakashi was staring at the two of them with something akin to warmth in his eye. To think that those two would become friends. I think this will be good for them, he thought, then looked at Hinata. Okay, you're last. My name is Hyuga Hinata. I like zenzai and cinnamon rolls, and Hinata stopped and blushed hard. She shook her head, deciding to leave that last part out. I dislike those who look down on others. My hobby is pressing flowers. And my dream is, to become a Hyuga worthy of being the head of the clan, and to abolish the caged bird seal from the branch family. Kakashi hummed softly as he looked over his three genin. Then, he nodded. Okay. That's it for the introductions. Tomorrow, we'll start our duties as shinobi. First of all, we're going to do something with just the four of us. What is it, Kakashi-sensei? Hinata asked softly. Survival training, Kakashi said seriously. Survival training. Sasuke repeated curiously. We did enough of that in the academy. This isn't a normal training. This time, I'm your opponent, Kakashi said, making everyone's eyes widen. He chuckled softly. What's so funny? Naruto asked with a slight glare, still a little ticked that they found out nothing about the man. Oh, well, it's just that when I tell you this, you guys are going to freak out. Just spit it out, damn it, don't keep us in suspense. Of the 27 graduates, only 9 will be chosen to become genin. The rest will be sent back to the academy. This training is a very difficult exam with a failure rate of over 66%. Everyone's eyes went even wider than before at that, and Kakashi just laughed and pointed at them. I told you you'd freak out. Then what the hell was graduation for? Naruto growled out. Oh, that was just to select those who have the potential to become genin. It takes more than a couple of jutsu to become one, after all, Kakashi said. Anyway, tomorrow you have to show your real skills on the training ground. Bring all the shinobi tools you have. Oh, and skip breakfast, or you might throw up. As his genin once more went wide-eyed, Kakashi took 3 pieces of paper out of his kunai pouch and held them out to them. The details are on this paper. And don't be late tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. Naruto said happily as the 3 genin met in training area 7 the next day. None of them looked tired, which was good, and none of them looked hungry, either, which was better. As Sasuke had said earlier, it was better to throw up than fight on an empty stomach. I'm guessing our sensei is going to be late again, Sasuke said, his hands in his pockets. Hinata nodded. I detect a pattern emerging, she mumbled softly. Well, better make good use of the time we have, Naruto said as he sat down in the lotus position, his eyes drifting shut. I'll keep a lookout for him, and Sasuke, you come up with some good battle plans. Sasuke nodded and sat down, humming. Alright. Hinata, you are proficient in the Juken, gentle fist, right? I'm not as good as my father, or my sister, but I guess. Sasuke was quiet for a moment, his eyes still closed. Then, he spoke up, alright, listen up. I'm sure we're all very strong, but none of us can win against a Junin alone. Therefore, we're going to have to work together if we want to beat him. If it comes down to a fight, which it most likely will, Naruto will be acting as support. And Naruto-kun will. Hinata asked, blinking. But, I thought you said, I would be support. I did say that, but Naruto has special jutsu in this case perfect for distracting and capturing Kakashi from a distance. While Naruto is distracting him, you and I will come at him in taijutsu. I'll go high, you go low. If you can, target his nuts. Naruto gave an audible snort at that and opened his eyes to see Hinata turning beet red again. Wow, that's kinda cruel, Sasuke, Naruto said in amusement. Are you sure you want to put Kakashi-tem through that punishment for being late? Sasuke said simply. I do, of course, have other plans as well. I want you to memorize them perfectly. Now, Plan B. They waited for another 2 hours, before Kakashi finally arrived, and he had the audacity to wave happily at them as if he was right on time. Good morning, everyone. You're late, Tem. Naruto exclaimed angrily. Isn't that unbecoming of a Junin? Ah, so sorry. See, a black cat crossed my path, and, stop lying, you're wasting our time, Sasuke said coldly, his arms crossed, which made Kakashi sweat drop. How serious, he thought with a sigh. He took off his backpack and set it down next to the 3 wooden poles in the clearing, before fishing out an alarm clock and setting it down on the pole. Okay, it's set for noon, he announced, taking 2 bells out of his kunai pouch and holding them out. Here are 2 bells. Your task is to take these from me before the time's up. Those who don't have a bell by noon gets no lunch. I'll not only tie you to one of those stumps, but I'll also eat right in front of you. Kakashi didn't see the hungry, devastated faces he had been expecting to see. Instead, the 2 boys of the group were glaring at him, and the girl was staring shyly at the ground. Kakashi blinked slowly, but then shook his head and continued. You only have to get 1 bell. There are only 2, so one of you will definitely be tied to the stump. And, the person who doesn't take a bell fails. So at least one of you will be sent back to the academy, Kakashi said, smirking at the shocked looks on their faces. If you want, you can use your weapons. You won't succeed if you don't come at me with the intent to kill. Any questions? Not getting any questions, Kakashi nodded and took a deep breath, his eye closed. Alright, then, begin. With that, all 4 of them dashed off. TCH. Naruto uttered as he hid in a tree, a disgusted look on his face. Pitting his students against not only himself, but each other as well. Yeah, came Sasuke's voice from behind him as his friend landed on the same branch. This guy's something else. And from what the rumor mill says, he's not someone to toy with, either. So, what do you think? I think the same thing you do, Naruto said, as though it was obvious. Neither of us wants to be sent back to the academy, but it'd be a shitty thing for us to do to team up and let Hinata fend for herself. Besides, she's probably the only girl I can stand. So, we can either have one of us go back to the academy, or Hinata. Sasuke muttered, a smirk appearing on his face. That Kakashi Yaro. That kind of guy just pisses me off. So, what do we do? Naruto asked, crossing his arms. I say we figure out a way to get all 3 to pass, Sasuke said, his smirk widening. And how do we do that? We steal everything he has. If Kakashi had seen the duo, he would have become very scared upon seeing the identical smirks on their faces. Meanwhile, Hinata was hiding behind a tree, her eyes closed. She was feeling devastated. Only 2 may pass, and everyone knew that Naruto and Sasuke were the best of friends, so there was little doubt that they would team up to defeat Kakashi, leaving Hinata to herself. Hinata couldn't help but feel so disappointed. She had finally done it. She had finally managed to end up on the same team as Naruto, and now they were going to be separated. It just wasn't fair. Yo. Hinata would have eeped in fright, had a hand not suddenly covered her mouth as she jumped. She looked over her shoulder to see that it was Naruto standing behind her and covering her mouth. Naruto was touching her. Naruto let out a, huh, when he saw Hinata's eyes get unfocused as her face once more went beet red. Thankfully, though, she managed to keep from passing out, as Naruto let go of her. Anyway, Hinata, Sasuke's already in position for Plan F, Naruto said, jutting his thumb over his shoulder. You better get ready too. But. Hinata blinked in confusion. There are only 2 bells. Naruto-kun, you should, now, we're a team now, Naruto said, grinning slightly. Sasuke and I wouldn't feel right leaving you behind, so we're doing this as a team. Besides, we'll be stealing more than just the bells from that Kakashi Yaro. We'll be stealing enough to pass 18 genin. Naruto winked at Hinata, then jumped off to get in position. In the meantime, Kakashi was standing in a clearing near the river running through Training Area 7, looking around and stretching his senses. His sense of smell could easily detect his students, and he could sense their chakra as well. They've hidden themselves well. The most important thing for a shinobi is to be able to hide themselves, after all. They could probably hide from a chunin at this level. Wait. Kakashi blinked as he focused on Sasuke's chakra signature. Then, his eyes widened when he felt that it was really Naruto's. Had he created a clone and manipulated his chakra to feel like Sasuke's? The soft thump of a sandal landing on the dirt was all the warning Kakashi got, before he had to duck under a swing from Sasuke's Chikudo. The Uchiha kept spinning and aimed a kick at Kakashi's head, forcing the Junin to leap away. More footsteps were heard behind him, and Kakashi leapt away yet again to avoid a Juken strike from Hinata. All 3 had teamed up so soon. He honestly hadn't been expecting that. Both genin charged at Kakashi, who dodged and dodged. Sasuke swung high with his Chikudo, and Hinata went after his abdomen with her Juken, forcing him to lean and twist without pause in order to avoid being hit. Considering they focused on only taijutsu and kenjutsu, he felt it would be unfair at this point to use ninjutsu. After all, this was partly to test their abilities. Now, Naruto. Sasuke called suddenly, and Kakashi's eye widened. The only warning he got was a slight rumbling in the ground, before wooden poles shot out of it, wrapping around his arms and legs. What? Kakashi exclaimed, his eye wide. He didn't have time to think about it, however, as Hinata reached him just then, and slammed her chakra-laced palm into his chest. Only for Kakashi to disappear in a poof of smoke, replaced by a log. Kawarimi. Sasuke muttered with a scoff. He can't have gone far. Indeed he hadn't, as just then, Kakashi blurred into view behind Naruto, who was hiding behind a pair of bushes, a kunai at his throat. Naruto's hands were in a snake seal, and Kakashi smiled at the blonde. Oh ho, Mokuden ninjutsu, huh? Haven't seen that for a while. However, this is the end for you, Naruto. Really? Naruto asked with a smirk. In a flash, his hand was planted on the ground, and Kakashi only had a millisecond to react before a wooden spike burst out of the ground beneath him, forcing him to leap into the clearing again. He wasn't given any breathing room, as Hinata was on him in an instant. She didn't strike as fiercely or quickly as some of the Hyuga Kakashi had sparred with in the past, but she was impressive nonetheless. However, he had no trouble keeping up. As he stepped back to avoid another strike, Kakashi noticed out of the corner of his eye how Sasuke had just finished a string of hand seals. Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu, Fire Element, Grand Fireball Technique. Sasuke brought his hand to his mouth and unleashed a massive fireball, sending it hurling at Kakashi and Hinata, the Junin going wide-eyed. Gukakyu. Impossible. A genin shouldn't have that much chakra. And he's aiming for Hinata as well. Evidently, Sasuke had been confident that Hinata wouldn't be hurt, and so was Hinata, apparently, as she looked quite calm. Suddenly, wood burst from the ground and enveloped Hinata in a protective wooden dome just as the fire reached them. Kakashi jumped into the air to avoid the fireball, which smashed into the wooden dome and exploded. More wooden poles burst from the ground and shot up at Kakashi, wrapping around his wrists and ankles, before forcefully yanking him down to the ground. Kakashi slammed hard into the ground on his back and grunted. Sure, he hadn't even used half his power in this spar, but still. These kids were already Chunin level. He was brought out of his musings as his 3 genin came walking up to him, staring down at the pinned Junin. Then, Naruto knelt next to him and grabbed the bells, tossing them to Sasuke, who gave one to Hinata. That's some self-sacrificing you're showing there, Naruto, Kakashi spoke calmly, despite the situation he was in. Are you sure you want to be sent back to the academy? I won't be sent back, Naruto said with a grin as he grabbed Kakashi's kunai pouch and removed it from his person, opening it and rummaging through it. Either all of us pass, or no one. So, I'm going to see if you have anything worth threatening in order to pass us. Kakashi's eye widened to the size of a saucer when he saw Naruto fish out his precious book, Ika Ika Paradise. Naruto must have caught his reaction, because his grin widened as he wiggled it at Sasuke. Look, Sasuke, our new teacher likes reading dirty books. How about you set it on fire, yeah? That sounds like an amazing idea, Naruto, Sasuke said, a cruel smirk on his face. You can't do that, Kakashi exclaimed. Fine, fine, you all pass. Now let me go and give me my book. Hey, Naruto uttered as he put the book back in the kunai pouch and dropped it onto Kakashi's stomach, before putting his hand in a half-rammed seal. The wood holding Kakashi loosened and sank back into the earth, allowing Kakashi to sit up. Well, you would have passed anyway, Kakashi said as he stood up, refastening his kunai pouch. This test was designed to see if you could figure out the hidden meaning behind it. Hidden meaning. Hinata mumbled, and Sasuke hummed, crossing his arms. You pitted the three of us against not only you, but each other as well. There was no way we were going to get a bell on our own, so we had to team up. So, self-sacrifice. That's right, Kakashi said with a nod. The hidden answer to this test is teamwork. I wanted to see if you could work together as a team, and I wanted to see if one of you would be willing to sacrifice themselves for the others. While that didn't work out quite as I had planned, you got the gist of it. Duties are done by the team. Of course, individual strength is also important to a ninja, but what's even more important is teamwork. Kakashi looked over his three genin, and a bright smile appeared on his face. Naruto, Sasuke, even if you two are best friends, you still didn't leave Hinata behind in order to get the bells for yourselves. That shows that you have character, compassion, honor. You will be risking your lives in these duties. If a hostage is taken, you will have tough choices to make, and you may not always make the right one. Kakashi sighed and gestured for them to follow him as he walked over to where the poles were, behind which was a large stone with hundreds of names carved into it. Look at this, the numerous names carved on this stone. These are ninjas who are recognized as heroes of the village, Kakashi said, staring softly at the stone. But, they aren't just normal heroes. Why do I get the feeling you're about to say something depressing? Naruto muttered. These ninjas are all heroes who died on duty, Kakashi explained. This is a memorial. My best friend's name is also carved here. ... You guys are the first team I've ever passed. Everyone else would just do whatever I told them. They were all just morons, who only thought about themselves, and about doing what I ordered. A ninja must see underneath the underneath. Those who break the rules and codes of the ninja world are called trash, but, you know what? Those who don't take care of their comrades are lower than trash. I want you all to remember that. TCH. Sasuke muttered. Here I thought I had you figured out, then you go say something cool like that. Kakashi smiled brightly and flashed them a thumbs up. That ends the training. All of you pass. Okay, starting tomorrow, Team 7 will begin its duties. Alright. Naruto exclaimed with a wide grin, pumping his fist into the air. My climb to the top starts here. So, what did you think? Love it? Hate it? Remember what I said up there? Leave a review on your way out. Peace. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more what ifs and support the author. See you guys in the next video.